Good morning, everyone. This is usually the part where you actually can't hear me and we have to fix it. Can you hear me though? Good morning, Camry. Good morning, everyone. Okay, we have a lot of people. Okay. Wait, I won't look at the viewer count. It might make me nope out. So is the balance good with the game audio, or does that look like it makes sense? The voice is a bit low. A little bit low, but it works. Nah, we need this to be as good as we can make it, so... Is this how we do it today? Is that better? I tried to adjust the... We're good now? Alright, thank you everyone. So as you may or may not know, my name is Thierry. I'm a game director, designer, and writer. I work at Sabotage Studio. We make retro-inspired games, and we have an upcoming turn-based RPG called Sea of Stars. I'm not a streamer, so I like to pretend there's only 28 of us. But so this is a dev update. This one might be more of a short one. We won't be doing a lot of combat, so it's more about covering some of the more basic systems that give kind of a foundation to give you things to touch and do and interact with in the game. Now some of you grew kind of worried that we wouldn't be doing, because the demo we did last year was all about just combat and navigation. It's like, oh, I enter a basement, there's nothing to do, and we just wanted to show a few things today to sort of let you know for sure that yes, if you can open a drawer and there's an onion or whatever, you know. So without further ado, let's go! So we're in the jungle path today. It's the area that you, for those who played or watched footage of the demo last year, we're in this section on Watcher Island, so we'll just do a short loop. And the first thing we want to show today is Gal's new combat move, or his second move, which is the hurl. Let's see here. As you can see, we replaced the lizardess for a little setup for the show and tell today. Alright. Let's see here. Oh, new combat intro for those who haven't heard it with the... Right? More oomph! Okay, so let's see, hold on. So we want to show the hurl, right? Which Gal essentially hurls an enemy to another position, which has implications on sort of like another layer to gameplay, which it's not about making it a tactics game, of course, but it's just giving you more options to kind of like show off with your moves. So, hold on, let's cancel this one. For those who don't know, you can time your hits and your blocks to increase the damage you deal or reduce the damage you take. Oh, Gal can boost now! Anyway, so okay, let's look at the hurl. So Gal can snack, can throw an apple or a sandwich if you press at the right time to an ally or himself for a bit of healing. But you can now also hurl. So let's look at that. Let's hurl this skill over here. Okay. So the crab is now closer to another one. So hold on, let me build up to 3 boost to really make it count. And here's the new thing. Remember the sunball? So there's now such a thing as splash damage in the game, right? We call it splash damage, and maybe it's not the most common term, but it's the one we're using, which is the idea is that your main target takes 100% of the damage, but anyone that's within the area will take a percentage of the damage, right? So let's do a fully boosted sunball to try and get rid of all of that in one hit. Maybe the scorpion might survive, but... So as we can see here, when we target, so that's a new thing, right? If we target the scorpion, we also get the crab that's below there. If we do the middle, we get everything, and the bottom one will just get us the 2 crabs. I'm assuming this makes sense, so I'll just blast away. Ah yes, it's very effective. Okay, so that was Hurl, and that's all the combat for today. Audio experiences. Is there a problem with audio? Sorry. Game audio is too loud. Oh, okay. Let's see here. Wait, game audio is too loud. Are we good here, or I can also do this? Is this better, or? Did you get my explanation on splash damage though? Did that make sense? I'll lower it a bit more just to be safe. Okay, cool. So now that we won the day against this one fight, we can open a chest and find a Dokari armor. Which here's the thing with the Dokari armor, right? At the moment, all of our 3 characters are equipped with an adventurer's vest, which this vest is the best, as you can see. And so, but here now we just looted a Dokari armor, right? And so we can look it up in our inventory here, and we can see that everyone except Gal can wear it. Well, everyone, I mean, Solstice Warriors can wear it, I guess. And so if we go ahead and equip that, we can see that Zale indeed gains in statistics, right? But now the problem is that Valor and Gal are jealous. So our little roleplay quest today is to get a new piece of armor for everyone. So I know we've shown this screen a lot, you know, so maybe you don't really notice the little details anymore, but perhaps your eye is keen, and then you might have noticed that at the top right there, it looks like we have 12 gold coins, which we do. It's not a lot. It's probably not enough to buy, you know, two sets of armors, but we'll go and see what we can do in the shop here. Heading over to Dokari again, which you might remember the place. And here we'll probably get more contrast going on the sign here, but you can tell this is the shop. So it's kind of time for I don't know, shop music, right? Anyway, so here's the shop. Hello there. And as we can see here, well, the shop has Dokari armor, which would do pretty good for Valor, and also has a pearlescent apron, which Gal could really do with. So let's shop. Oh right, I forgot something, hold on. So after battle, you might find yourself weary, right? So that's why you have snacks that you prepare at the campfire, right? And you can also toggle if you want to look at the recipe, if you want to make more later. But so you can use that to heal your, essentially feed your party. So it's kind of like items, you know, but you can't use them in combat. No potions hoarding. That's a no. Some of them affect the entire group. Some of them are for a single person. I assume you get the idea and that we can move on here. So let's sell Zale's Adventurer Vest, which you won't need anymore. We also happen to have an extra Eye of Yomara, so we'll go ahead and sell that as well. But we'll keep our ingredients. So now we can buy a new Dokari armor for Valor. Let's see here. And don't worry about flow, you know, of course we'll have options that let you, you know, equip as you buy and then sell the previous one and all that. We're just laying the base for the systems for now, right? All the quality of life things, that comes later, but it is coming. So they both have something, but now Gal needs a new apron. And we'll do this without, we'll just be playing the economy. So let's see here. Well, I mean, we can sell another Adventurer's Vest, okay. And then we can buy, let's buy tomato and wheat. And here's the thing, now we have 47 and we need 110. So to have an excuse to look at the fishing minigame, what we'll do is go fishing and bake some fish pies and sell them to buy an apron. See what we did there? Cooking to buy an apron, okay. Let's go with the Gal's Epic Quest for inventory. Actually, let's take a break here. I'll leave the music on for now, but we have an announcement to make, and it's about music. So as you know, it's cool when you make a project like that to have other musicians that you like that contribute, show up as guest composers. And we have someone who you probably don't know actually, because he's not really known in games, but he's a very good friend of Eric, and we're at the studio, especially Sklut and I are very big fans of his music, his band, and it is Jake Vincent Jackson Jones from Aether Realm. It's a folk death metal band. If you're into growly vocals, might want to look it up. Very good with the hooks and the melodies. So is Aether Jake here? I don't know if he's here, but he's been working behind the scenes for almost a year now, helping Eric with SFX and compositions, and they're just really having a blast working together. So it's kind of cool to be at the front seat of this collaboration. But now we can officially announce, and of course he gave us just like a 30 seconds teaser for a boss track, which I will play for you right now. It's called Fierce Opposition. Yep. So that's it. That's all we get. But I think it's more than enough for you to understand that Jake and Eric are very much on the same wavelength. Literal wavelength, I guess. And also, I mean, I'm not saying there's a necromancer in the game, but this might seem like a good fit if we ever get to fight one, right? So welcome, Jake. Jake is officially on the team. We can say it now. And you'll be hearing more of Jake, and of course of Eric. Eric remains our main composer. Now I realize I sort of mentioned guest composers just now, and we announced over a year ago that Yasunori Mitsudo from Chrono Trigger, Chrono Cross, and Xenogears, and a bunch of other games had accepted to contribute to the project. And I understand that me bringing this up now might sound like maybe it's time for bad news in that regard. But no, this is very much alive and very much happening. And I can't, like, Phil doesn't want me to get in specific numbers, but essentially when we first made the proposition, the idea was, let's get like 2 tracks, you know, that would be really cool. Just, you know, get this stamp, get this kind of collaboration going on. And as we talked more and shared more about the game and the story beats and the characters and just the world that we're building, which we have yet to show you more than 5% of, well, we got really excited. And so we decided to go with, like, well, how about we do more, you know? And so we were thinking, oh, maybe we can get 3, maybe we can get 4. So yeah, we'll be getting about 3 times our initial assumption. So you can look forward to that as well. It's very much alive, and we felt like it was genuinely, you know, interested, not just like, yeah, sure, let's do it. So this is, you can look forward to something really exciting. We don't have a track from him to share yet. It feels like this is probably more like of a Christmas gift or whatever. So no promises, but if we do a Winter Solstice stream or something like that, like end of year, you might want to tune in. And what's cool is that with this bigger range, we got to make sure, you know, working on a sort of fanboy perfect list of like, oh, let's do something world map, let's do something haunted, let's do something tropical, let's do a boss fight, let's do a regular battle. So it should be a pretty good serving. So please be hyped. All right, so now, but see, high stakes, but there's also low stakes in life. So now we need to buy an apron for a gal. which we can't afford, because we only have 47 gold coins. But we have some potatoes and some wheat, so if we fish, we can bake some stuff. So, and of course, Eric had to crack the banjo on this one, as you would expect. And I'll try not to do a design run because this is more like of a reveals kind of stream, and there's a lot of people that I don't want to bore, but I just want to say that this is by far the most challenging thing I've ever done in game design. It's so cursed, like there isn't a single fishing minigame that pleases more than 20% of people. But anyway, so the direction here was no UI at all, as immersive as possible, very simple, but still more involved than just, you know, pressing when it twitches, you know, because you need your fishing minigame to be in tune with the rest of your experience, you know. And so you take one like Hades, where it's more of an action game, you just stop, it twitches, you press, it works into the flow of how you feel about the game. For us, it's more like you take your time, you stop, you know. And we want something where we don't end up playing in the UI, so which Breath of Fire 3, I think someone just said it, was my favorite as well, Matt, and it ended up as the first ref, but the thing I didn't like in that one is that once you hook, you play in the HUD instead of looking at the lake. So anyway, let's take a look here. So first of all, there's no casting bar. You just press and it goes at full strength, and you have air control left and right on your bobber. And the idea is a bit like golf, but you control the ball, so you need to land on a fish to hook. There's no trolling, reeling, trying to get it to hook. You don't understand why the heck it won't hook already, so there's no inventory management, nothing. You will get linear upgrades though, that they all stack. There's no thing of like unequip this, equip that, why won't it bite? It's just you'll be casting further, you'll be having an easier time reeling some of the fishes that are harder in the beginning and things like that. So you cast, and then when you press, it kicks your bobber down, and you want to land on a fish. And then the reeling begins, so I'll explain that when it happens. Okay, so it's a standard like left and right tug of war, right? And you want to keep the fish in the reeling zone, and then you just hold action to reel. If you reel while you're within the zone starts moving, and it gets smaller, so sometimes you want to take a break, you know? And then you just take it home, and you have a lunar trout. There actually won't be lunar trout on Watcher Island. That's more for a lake next to Moon Cradle. Just saying that for the lore fiends. So yeah, let's just catch a few more. Oof. See, sometimes you miss. It just goes back. I don't know. I just hate reeling and trying to get it to hook, you know. And so if you reel too much, as you would expect, if you reel too much, your line, you start seeing the damage on your line, and then it breaks if you do it too much. So in the upgrades, you'll have more stamina on your line, you know, or depending on the fish, it will wear your line slower and things like that. So as you get upgrades, and so the fishing is all self-contained, fully optional. So there's a fish roster, right? So each island has a lake with their species, and as you map them out in like your roster, you unlock these upgrades, and so they just give you access to more. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Oh no, hold on, I forgot the neat thing. So yeah, so they're in the ingredients. So I guess we want 4 for this mission. So this is Sea of Stars, right? So we want to break things free of the grid, so you can actually jump in the lake and hurt the fish. See, this is why you need Sklut. Thank you, Sklut. So you can actually bring them closer to the dock, and then if you hurry up, you can grab it before they go too far. And it kind of auto-balances itself, because you pay in time regardless, because you spend less time reeling, but you spend more time swimming or whatever. But yeah, the herding is pretty cool. So that's it. At this point, the stream is almost over. Okay, so here's another thing: is camping is now available on the world map at any time, free of charge. At some point, we had a thing where it's like you have a stew and you have to chuck ingredients into it, and we dropped all of that in favor of it because enemies are not permadeath anymore. It's okay, because if you go back to the world map to heal for free, then the enemies respawn, so you're resetting your challenge as well. So now it's all working out. It's clicking better with this approach. So let's camp so that we can actually cook, right? And cooking is not really involved because oh, and that's another thing too, right? Is that since we're camping on the world map, we can do these like self-contained, like cozy, bits. So every island will have its own little place, and it's also your go-to. We all know this curse of I haven't played for a while, so I don't know where to go. So when all else fails, you set up camp and you talk to your party, and they'll give you pointers on where you could do what you could do next or where you could go, right? And they'll have their opinions on recent events that just happened, or they'll give you more specifics about where you should be heading next if you want to do that. And hopefully you won't have to rely on like a walkthrough and you see a spoiler or whatever. You could like that within the game. You would always have. Well, anyway, you get it. So here we can cook, and cooking isn't really involved. It's very simple because fishing can be more involved because it's optional, but cooking you will have to do it. So we didn't want to we couldn't make it in a thing where you're like mixing and matching, and some people will find it boring, and then they end up not having a fun experience because it's debalanced because they didn't care to have snacks, which you can still buy some at the store, but picking berries as you go and carrots or whatever, and fishing a little bit, or sometimes you maybe get meat from a monster, and then spending that. So you see your ingredients list, quick descriptions for things. But now we can make fish pies, right? So that was our goal for today. Eric and Jake are working on like a bunch of cooking sounds so that whatever you cook will be like a series of little sound effects that fit the thing you made. Anyway. So now we made 2 moon cradle fish pies, which we will now go and sell. C'est-tu Canada, là? Alright, so let's go back to the carry. This will be our final action today. Well, in the game at least. Then we have other stuff to look at. Let's go back to the shop. Hello. Did you need equipment or supplies for the road? Yes. Buy these 2 moon cradle fish pies. See, and now we have enough money for a pearlescent apron. Look at y'all. Imagine cooking your way into buying a pearlescent apron. There we go. So now we're all upgraded with our stats, and we're ready for the next step of the adventure. But not today. So that's it. That's the in-game hands-on systems and things we wanted to show, because we felt there was a bit of again, as I said at the beginning, there was a bit of concerns in the community that will there be those things, that we can like stay a while and mess around with inventory and whatnot, and yes. So yeah, other than that, we can move on now to presenting the Crypt Walker, which, if you didn't know, some of you so some of you pledged during the Kickstarter for a presence in a crypt that will be in the game, and so there will be an NPC to greet us at the entrance, and that NPC is called the Crypt Walker, and so we had the community vote on guidelines for the design, and we kind of incorporated the whole community in the process that we usually do, which is I'll write a creative brief, send that over to our concept artist Bryce Code, and he'll do a few propositions, and it's like, oh, let's keep this one, that one, and then we do color turnarounds and all that, and then it's passed over to Jean-Luc's team with animators doing all the pixels and all that, and then gameplay code implements them and whatnot. So anyway, so we did the first step together to design the character. And so those of you who voted, you've already seen the designs and the winner, but it's just to share with everyone so that it can now be official. People wanted something that would be more spirit-based, integrated in an object. So the first proposition, so Bryce made a few of them, 6 of them I think. So then we kept 3, and then the community voted on those 3 of which one was the winner. So in third place we had the one everyone started calling the Ectopot. So it's a pottery one, but it also has ectoplasms to like create limbs, and it has sort of a face. And the idea on that one was that it could teleport, but the way to do it was that it jumps up and breaks itself, and then it recomposes somewhere else. So that was pretty quirky and interesting, but alas, it got 3rd place. In 2nd place, actually I'm kind of in love with that one, so we might, I don't know, let's see. He might have a place yet, but that's not our Crypt Walker. And then in 2nd place we had this thing, which is, Bryce wanted to do one that was more abstract. So it's like 3 rings that like spin, and it's hovering and the rings spin, and there's also baby ghost sharks that spin around the rings. So it's like just the whole thing of everything is spinning and hovering. What is actually inside the crypt? Red Wizard, inside the crypt will be stones, statues and monuments for the people who pledged during the Kickstarter for a presence in the crypt. So it's the backers area where we get to look at all their statues and nameplates and all that. So that one, that was the abstract one, and the idea here was that the sharks would spin at different speeds or whatever based on its mood or you know, or what it's saying or whatever. So another interesting one, and I'm glad you all, like, you only voted on 3 items, but I'm glad you all shared the burden of my responsibility for a while, which it's like you always want everything, but you have to, you know, let some go. So, but anyway. And then in 1st place, of course, you do anything that could remotely be a Pokemon, and the internet will go, yeah, I'm gonna have that one, thank you. So the winner is here. The winner is a Spirit Fox, but the Crypt Walker's soul is actually inside the lantern, and then the lantern is carried by a Spirit Fox. So that is our winner. We'll meet the lamp and probably light it up, and then the fox, you know, comes to life or something, and then it can. It's good though that it will actually walk the crypt, because that way we don't have to rename it. So we'll have more details on the crypt. We'll be in touch. We're actually working. We just got through that in production right now, so we'll be sending over stuff for you know, forms. What do you want your statue to be, and the statue creator will be kind of like a character creator in an MMO where you're like choosing hair and head and body and you know, weapon and I think podium, and also a light, you know, because there's a lot of lighting going on in our game. So, and last but not least, we are unveiling today what we call the Compendium. So it's a website. We'll send you the URL right after this. And well, basically, oh, hold on. Let me mute the game, because it has music. Of course, you know we wouldn't do a website section without cosmic knowledge. So here, it's a place to live for all the characters that have been revealed, and all put together with a description, you know, fun facts about them, and then a few sprites and some screenshots of them in game, right? So there's a few of them, a bunch of them you will have seen before. There's also the behind the scenes video whenever we happen to have it, and so yeah. We'll let you browse this yourself. You know, like some of the scenes, you'll get screenshots that are kind of like not necessarily spoilers, but like a bit of more info on some of the context where you might meet some of them, and some are just like, yeah, that's just a monster. There's nothing to say here, but here's a few animations, you know. And so, but the main thing though is that this is, because as you know, we're self-publishing the game, right? So the more eyeballs we get, that's how we can feel safe that the game will do well and that we'll get to make a 3rd game, you know? And so that was kind of our thing, to sort of try to give an incentive to help us spread the word. So based on our follower count, we have targets that when we hit the targets, a new character reveal is unlocked. And there's a long list, and who knows whether we'll see the end of it or not. That is up to the community. We have absolutely no control on that. It's all automated. Like the second we reach the last follower, it unlocks, even if it's 4 AM and we're all on vacation. So the community has control here. So once we reach, I guess, 17,500 followers, we'll see a new character. And one last thing too, these are very long shot, but we put 4 achievements here. which are one-offs that, if they happen, will reveal 4 more characters, which we plan on revealing anyway in an upcoming trailer. But if you pull off some crazy internet moves, we might see them ahead of time. So the ball is in your court. If you don't mind helping us spread the word, it's by far the easiest way to help. So that's it. That's it for the stream. That's it for today. We'll now be doing maybe a few questions from the community. There are any, but the main event is now over for those who just wanted to see the new stuff. But we still have a bit of time if you have some questions you were hoping to send over. Let me open the Slack channel where Phil and Matt might forward some. Ah yes, there's a questions channel. Leave it to Phil to create a Slack channel while you're streaming. Yeah, any questions? Will the lakes named instead of fishing lake? Yes, that's actually Watcher's Pond. They will all have names, Cade, for sure. Very important too, because you'll be browsing your roster and you want to know where you can catch a particular, like the I don't know, the ghost eel or whatever, you know. So, well, it's just in the fishing lake. Yes, there will be a Quebecois version, Sputnik. So I'm writing that's another thing that's giving me stress sometimes when people ask about the writing team. I'm like, oh, should it be a team? And I'm just soloing this, and I'll just die making it, you know. But so I do everything in English first, and then as a final round, you know, when programmers are just squashing bugs or whatever, and I get some time to write I'll do it at the end of the production. It's the cherry on top. It's my own little personal reward here. Will we be able to make poutine? Come on, Jake. you know it. You talked about statues. How will creating backer monuments work? So okay, so statues are just, as you seem to point out, it's just a character creator, right? Because we'll just be making a bunch of like heads and torsos and arms and weapons and whatever, and you just pick your combination. And monuments are more involved, so you'll get a form, and we'll be asking you. You'll have some questions to answer, so that we can close in on a vision for what you wanted, you know, and you have to upload a few screenshots or images for reference, because, you know, maybe you want a house, maybe you want a family of 3, maybe you want a snake, maybe, you know, maybe you want just a big magic crystal, you know. So monuments can be absolutely anything, so it will be more custom for you as well to fill out. I missed the part about enemies respawning now. Why the change? Well, it's been a while since respawning has been a thing. But the thing though is that some enemies will be permadeath. Like if you discover an area and like they ambush you and you absolutely have to fight, that doesn't happen again. So the only ones that respawn are the ones that you can avoid, you know, fairly easily. And the reason is that, you know, just going back through empty areas is a bit boring, and with everything that we're seeing with the materials for cooking and all that and the economy, it just makes more sense to kind of give you that lever. But there's a very big rubber band on XP though, so you won't feel it's worth grinding instead of moving on. The no grind thing is still very much alive. So. Final solstice. Will there be anything unique to fish? Unique to fish, I mean, there's some recipes that require them. You can probably buy some instead of fishing. But all the upgrades and the outcomes that you get of fishing just kick into more fishing. But it will give you an edge with money or whatever, or you know, with your inventory, if you choose to partake, but you won't have to. So you could choose to like forage and sell berries instead. You could choose to fight and sell whatever loot you get from enemies instead, you know. But money, we're treating money in a way that I probably should have talked about that earlier. But you know, one thing I don't like is it's always stayed with me. It's like I finish a battle and I get like $178,325, and it's like, what does that even mean? I just killed like 3 random minions. And so you go into the shop, and the shopping experience just comes down to, are there more digits in my wallet than on this price tag? And if so, I can buy it, and you just buy stuff until you're out of digits. And so there's no meaning to it. So we have a cap, a very low cap on money, like something in the 3 digits, so that you'll be buying and selling because your wallet can't hold, you know, enough to buy everything you want, but you can still have some valuables that you found in chests that you sell at your convenience. So, for example, instead of opening a chest and finding $200, if the cap is, say, 500, sometimes you could be full already, but instead you get, like, let's say an emerald ingot or whatever that's worth 200 that you sell at your convenience when you need money. So it will be more of a back and forth with shopkeepers of buying and selling, instead of like, I have this big pile of gold and then one of everything, you know, and then you storm out and then you're out of money, but then random encounters just happen to give you enough to be full again by the next town or whatever. So no, it's really more about the rhythm. For reference, Super Mario RPG did it, I would say perfectly, but I know perfect is relative. I'm not saying there's emerald ingots, I was just throwing things out. Mocha Dalad, will the 2 other Crypt Walker designs be used for something? I don't know. We will see. But we had a clear winner, so Nightfall physical release. Yes, you can already pre-order a physical release. Actually, we just have yet to announce which consoles will be on, but or maybe just which console. But yes, very much physical release. How do you get recipes? Are they automatically available when you have the right ingredients, or do you have to buy them or something? This one and Wolf is sort of, we'll see. Possibly some of them could be like in, you know, there's all the, we haven't touched on taverns or inns, but they all have a chef, and so you could learn, you know, or buy from a chef, and also maybe find some as you go, and maybe some of them they just come naturally to make sure that if you don't really go in and turn every stone, you can still progress. It will be whatever makes sense in the end, but no, it's a bit early for Riwek, is this purely going to be a solo game, or will there be online co-op? Well, there's one in between, which is offline co-op, which we're doing. It's not co-op per se, no online, that's for sure. But we're not keen on delaying the game for a year just to implement that. No, it's very complex beast, and it's not. I believe it's not really worth it because it's more involved in your own story and all that. So there will be offline. You'll be able to play. We call it single player plus, right? It's not a fully fledged co-op, so it's still about the main player, but the plus player gets to control your follower, and so you can run around, dive and swim and climb or whatever, and they control their character in combat and all of that. But the player one, let's say, controls the camera, triggers the cutscenes, and all of that. So, you know, if you can think of the Mario games where if you go off screen, you're in a bubble and you come back, you know, something like that. So something very light that doesn't disrupt the single player experience and creates a whole bunch of problems that we have to solve when it's really just about running around and having fun, right? Will we be able to put crypt statues, monuments, graves next to our friends who also back the game? Yes, Avok, that's actually a thing we thought about, of having, because, you know, there's over 7,000 of them. Count them, over 7,000. So, like, someone is bound to be like on the you know, on the 8th floor in the corner, you know, and it's like, you know, I paid for this. So, but the thing is, you'll be able, we'll make like the one room, you know, that's in the main floor, and it has like the sunroof with the light beam kicking perfectly in the middle, and make it like as beautiful as we can make a single room. And it will have kind of like a, I don't remember the name, but you know the shelf they put the moais on Easter Island, and so you'll be able to favorite, you know, let's say, I don't know, 3, maybe 5, maybe just the one, I don't know, but to be like the center presentation. And also you will have kind of like a code, you know, it will be something that has narrative to it, you know, like, oh, like my monument is like winter, and you know, fire and 3, and you know, so you'll have like 4 symbols that point to your thing, because we're in the 4 figures, so with 4 symbols with a kind of like a thing that spins, you can do all the codes, and so you can give that code to the Crypt Walker, and the Crypt Walker will draw a path or take you to the monument you ask for. So if you're looking for, especially for stones, because a lot of them will look alike, but you want to see yours, right? So that's the job of the Crypt Walker, actually, is to take you to the stone that you want. So a friend could say like, hey, look, this is my combination. You walk up to the Crypt Walker, you're like, hey, I want to favorite my friend or whatever, and then you go look at the main room, and so everyone gets to share, you know, their piece at the center with their other favorites, you know, with the perfect setting. Sounds like this makes sense if I look at the chat, but. Alright, so will the battle be turn-based? Yes. Yo, Ara Bevingador, it's definitely turn-based. As turn-based as it gets, no time bars. Alright, so what aspect of the game are you most excited about, or is your personal favorite? Well, that's something I can't spoil, but I'm pretty stoked on the boat and sailing, I think. But I think my favorite thing is all of it. I kind of like Sea of Stars. Okay. Have you thought of adding a Garl animation when he cooks the meals instead of just the cooking sound? What's up, Lexington? Yeah, in the end it was about, like, we might have a bit of flavor that just pops up just for fun, but the idea was really, well, to answer your question, yes, we have thought of it. Should I just end there? But we really want this to be like super streamlined and really simple, so that you just like, you press, you create a few things and you just move on, as you would buy like a few high potions and a phoenix down in a shop, you know, that's our equivalent of that. So if it becomes too hands-on or too involved, sorry, some people won't do it, and then it kind of breaks the experience. So we want to invite you, and that's part of design, right, is making sure that we don't call for more attention than a system should deserve for the game to feel balanced. But anyway, I don't know if that makes sense. How do you get the recipe? Answer that. Is there any possibility of a second demo before the release? Yes, it's possible. But demos for us, you know, like if we made a demo now, it would mean delaying the game by something like 3 or 4 months, you know? Because a lot goes into making something to final like presentation quality, and it's something we just do at the end. So we don't do a demo unless, and I appreciate the hype and the wanting to touch it, you know, as soon as possible, but for us the demo is like we have a problem or we have a question, we have something we need to validate, right? And the only answer is we make a demo so that we get the feedback. That's what we did last year. It was also a Kickstarter incentive, but mostly it was really like just combat and navigation, because we're doing a lot of things of like removing the grid, letting you jump everywhere, climbing. Do people like it? Do people get it? And in the combat with the time hits and all of that, does that actually make sense? Do you actually want to play this? So we needed that sort of that validation before going all in with the direction. So we might do another demo. It'll depend. Will there be accessibility options? Yeah, for sure. One thing, Juju 6. I mean, yes. The short answer is yes. It's something we'll be doing probably a bit later in the production. Like we'll actually get someone to review the whole thing. You know, we're looking at accessibility consultants right now to really look at the game and the design and make propositions of the areas where we would have, like, you know, it would be a good idea to address. We already know that mashing for the sunball, you know, may not be for everyone. And if we ever have things that are only sound-based, making sure we have the visual cues as well and all that. So yes, we're keeping that in mind for sure, and we'll make a point to get it right. Will there be personal side quests for each party member, like Chrono Trigger? No, nothing in Sea of Stars is like Chrono Trigger. I mean, maybe. Yes, the idea for sure is that there's optional stuff. You know, there's side content. You know, you can sail around and I don't know, like discover an island and then loot something or activate a thing and a statue comes out and then you go in the statue or something. But also, yes, this idea of you know, like the when you get in Chrono Trigger to the point where your save is called the Fated Hour, so it's like, hey, we go to the final boss when you're ready, but that's also when a few things unlock. Yeah, that would be great. We're not there yet in terms of scope, so it's hard to tell for sure, but the intention is certainly there. Cool. Parts of Canada starting to look into return to work. Do you guys have a plan to head back to the studio? Yes. Phil and Jibs have been like working on the decoration and all of that for like about 2 weeks now, I think. And Phil ordered a bunch of just whatever we needed to get back, because we have more people now than when we left. So yeah, we should be heading back like possibly around September, I'm assuming. We are more than excited to be doing that. Alright. Will that waterfall on the screen be animated in the final game? We'll see. Animated props on the world map are likely, yes. Cool. Alright, so maybe we can do one last question if there are any. Otherwise, I think that's it for today's little session. Hey, Kyle's here. What's up, Kyle? Alright, cool. Well, it's a wrap. So thanks everyone for tuning in. I hope you have a great rest of your week, a great weekend, a great everything. Next stream should be around the winter solstice, we'll see. But we want to build up and have a bit more to show before we do another one. So we will be in touch. Again, keep it tuned on our Discord. That's where you get all the news first, so it's the best place to be. Thank you, everyone.